Hey man, how's it going?
Good, brother. How are you going?
Yeah, good dude. Not too bad.
That's good. You have to excuse me though. How's this?
Okay.
There's a fly in my studio,
Oh
and
no,
it's like
nightmare.
I right before you popped on, it's like, "Hey, how you going?" And I'm like, "Fuck."
Oh man, that's
So
the
if you see anything darting, it's
okay, yeah.
we've got a guest, an unwanted guest.
That's the most. That's the thing that annoys me the most when you're just like you're getting ready to do something. It's like you've seen that Breaking Bad episode as well, where he's just chasing that fly the entire time. Like they really get to me. I'm like, fuck's sake,
Yeah, yeah.
like.
So I will be listening, but if you see it, because I'm trying to,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
I'm Miyagi it.
Chopstick it.
I
Yeah,
should,
chopstick it.
hey. I should, hey. I've got nothing to chopstick it. I'll just throw my whole computer screen at it. But
Yeah, yeah.
how are you going? What's going on, man? It's daylight there by the looks of things. Where are you?
Yeah, it's morning. It's morning here. It's what are we on like 10 a.m. So yeah, I only woke up not that long ago, but we're kind of downtime from tour at the minute. So yeah, we decided to, we had like 2 or 3 weeks before the last one and coming out to Oz. So we're sort of like thinking about new music, but just spending time with our loved ones, taking a bit of time to ourselves, going out a bit, seeing friends. So it's been a nice little break, Easter break.
Before you go all over again and you're going to come
Yeah,
all the way down here to Australia. And we're so keen. It's been a little while between drinks, my
mm.
friend. So, how are you feeling about getting on that big bad plane ride and come down and having a few beers with
Good. I mean, I'm very excited. I'm trying to turn it into a bit of a holiday as well because I'm hoping if my visa comes through in time, I could come out like a week before and spend a bit of time in Melbourne because I've never been to Melbourne.
you?
Um, yeah, I say we've never been. We did the one show last time, but we literally like flew in, drove to the venue, sound checked, ate on like I don't know, like the street next to the venue, played the show, and had to fly straight out that night. So it didn't feel like we got to sample what in any way what Melbourne had to offer. And people have bigged up Melbourne so hard. Like every Australian I meet is like, "You've got to go to Melbourne. It's amazing." And when we came last time, we kind of spent more time in Brisbane and then Sydney, and a bit of time in Adelaide. So yeah, I'm excited to sort of hopefully turn it into a few days of being a bit of a tourist and doing all that stuff. Though I've heard it's really cold, which is like not what I had in mind.
No, it's just literally over the last week, it's just like that. It's just
Yeah.
changed. So
Mm.
early mornings are pretty chilly, but hey, it's good, man. It's still nice enough weather. You got to come down to the Gold Coast when you're here. If you get a little
Oh,
squeeze of time in there,
I've heard some.
come
Yeah,
down.
everyone's big up. There's so many cool places in Australia though.
Mm.
It's like I feel the UK, you can give them like five things to do, and it's like very achievable because everything's like a 2 hour drive. Um, and yeah, I mean, I Australia's definitely somewhere I really just hope it's going to work out one schedule in the future where we don't have another tour. And because annoyingly, we've got America like a week after we've got to fly out. So the time to actually get, basically really make a good time out of it, it just would cut it off by, you'd start doing the trip, the drive up to Cairns I was looking at. I was thinking, man, like everyone's just said, from is it Brisbane to Cairns people do?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh man, I kind of mapped that all out and I was like, I could just about make it in the time we've got after the show, but it would be like driving all day and sleeping in the town. I'd finally make it up without seeing anything and then have to
You
fly
just go.
home. So
You just see the sign, and it's like, shit, I gotta go back. And you're like, yeah,
yeah, yeah. So I'm going to save that for another time. So this time it's I think going to focus in Melbourne and do a load of kind of tourist stuff there. Yeah, and hopefully get you have a few drinks, have a bit of a party, but not too much I've lost my voice before the tour. That's the thing when you do that, you stay with friends and you see a few people and you have too good a time. That's kind of in an ideal world, you do it after the tour rather than before. So we'll see.
Just one. They go, come on, mate.
Yeah, yeah.
No, just one.
You're only here. You're only here for a few days. Come on.
Yeah, it's it. You wake up, you're in the dumpster the next morning. Go,
yeah.
I'm in Tasmania now. How did this happen? But
yeah,
we've idolised that.
I mean, I do want to go to Tasmania too, so maybe it wouldn't be such a bad thing. We'll see.
Man, just take a month. Come down here and we'll go backpacking.
That's the whole thing. Dude, I want to do that. I'm a lot of Brits get to go out and do that. It's a typical thing like after school or after uni. And like that's the one thing that I don't regret it because that's where we are. I am where I am today, thanks for starting a band. But we kind of straight after we finished all our schooling and stuff, we were like, let's start the band. That'll be the place that takes us to, call these cool places. And it does, but you're still at like the mercy of the tour schedule, which sucks. So we haven't never had that opportunity where we can just take a few months off and just go backpacking and shit like that. So, I'm really hoping one day that figures itself out and we can be like, we'll take a few months off and we don't need to write a new album. Let's just let's rediscover ourselves in the bush. See what happens.
You know what? You could film it.
That's the next record.
You could make a record out in the bush and film it and make like a Don Brocomentary. I don't know.
I like it.
I don't know where that word just went. I don't know where the fuck I'm going.
Don Brocomentary, yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm full of ideas and other things that people will say. But it's going to be incredible to see up here. But you're bringing Alt and Wayside along for the ride as well. Now, both incredible bands. Are you familiar with them before you hook
yeah,
up?
well, I'd say Alt were put on our radar before the tour, and they're awesome. Wayside, we've known a little bit. We've probably known them for I'd say over a year or so because our friend Jace works with them, who used to be our guitar tech. He's from Melbourne and he lived in the UK for a bit and was our guitar tech for years. And he's been bigging those guys up for a long time. Super excited. They're really sort of like picking up some steam now. And yeah, that sounds insane. So we're stoked to have like a kind of a really exciting, but kind of it's quite a nice diverse bill as well. It's like every band has got their own vibe, which is something that's important to us. We'd like to bring that kind of breadth to a show where it's boring as hell when every band sounds the same on a lineup. You want that variety, so that's cool.
That's right, absolutely. And I mean, you're no stranger to touring with Australians either. I mean, you recently did a run with Ocean Grove, right? Those boys.
Yeah, we love those guys. Yeah, they're one of our favorite bands, I think, in the world. Like, they've got that energy, that same sort of thing that makes us as a band tick. Bringing in a lot of the references and nods to the bands that we grew up listening to, but kind of not ripping them off because of bringing their riffs and the vibes and the styles and those kind of moments, but like together in a new way. So and keeping it kind of heavy and melodic is something that we're always. It's that balance of like just sick riffs that are going to get the party started while also having those big kind of sing along moments too. So yeah, those guys nailed that. It was awesome. We did 3.5 weeks in Europe with them, and they're great. We love those boys.
That's so cool, man. They're one of our treasures. I got to say that.
Hell yeah!
But man, like you recently did a Papa Roach and Dance Gavin Dance tour as well, and that looked insane. I got to say, but the tour art with the dinosaurs. Now, you always have tour art. Who comes up with it? Who's like, man, we got to have dinosaurs and shooting guns and shit. Who's the mastermind?
I'm guilty of that, I'm afraid. Yeah, that's my that was my brainchild. That was one of my ideas for the album cover. I was kind of pushing for that for a while for the actual album cover, and once we sketched it out, unfortunately, I then changed my mind because it felt like basically I just wanted a pet dinosaur ever since I was like a little kid. You know, I think I was like, wouldn't it be cool having a pet T-Rex that then would grow up and be your like just like protector and
Mm.
enforcer and just eat everyone you didn't like. You know, that's been a childhood dream since I was about 4. So then when we ended up coming up with the album artwork and the concept and the kind of the sci-fi themes that would kind of link across the whole album, um, rather than sort of chucking a load of aliens in, which kind of felt like the obvious move. I drew upon like that classic, you know, almost Star Trek thing where they go back in time and they
Yeah,
just,
yeah.
you know, rediscover dinosaurs. So we brought the dinosaurs in to freshen it up a little bit. And we had this idea that this little kind of our baby dino mascot for the album would grow up and evolve into this beast, fully grown T-Rex, and I'd be riding it, shooting lasers off it. So we had that idea right from the start. The sketch felt just too it felt too one dimensional to encompass the full scope of the music of the album, though, because obviously, I mean, you see that it just conjures, you know, it's just ridiculous. It's funny as hell. But the album, obviously, it while it brings that in, the album's got a bit more depth and emotion
Yes.
to it. So I wanted something. We ended up going with the album artwork that we have now, and it kind of, you know, draws on slightly more emotional, deeper themes. It's kind of got this kind of for me like almost like a religious significance, but I still had this sick me riding a T-Rex idea. So I was like, fuck it, let's use that for the tour art. And I think it kind of that was where it was best placed because almost more people probably saw the tour art than even the album art. You know, that's a little square
On
on
this, yeah,
Spotify or
yeah.
whatever, unless you bought the vinyl. Um, you know, it probably doesn't get as much exposure as me on a T-Rex. So it kind of worked out for the best, I think.
Absolutely. And I think from pictures I've seen of your recent tour, you've got that massive UFO lighting rig, whatever that is. That looks insane, dude. Like,
Yeah,
have you
we were stoked now that came
have you
out.
have you
Yeah,
ever
yeah.
thought that you could actually, because you kind of got that level now, you could actually have like a UFO bring you down from the roof and ride dinosaurs with lasers shooting out on stage? Like, have
We
you
did
thought
look
of?
into that. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, yeah. We did look. We looked into a few different options where I mean the dinosaurs you could rent are so budget. Yeah, we abandoned that idea because like there's a few different kind of most of it there's plastic, there's metal ones,
Yeah,
there's a
yeah.
lot of blow up dinosaurs you can get. None of them were quite right. Most of them looked really tacky, and you've got this like insane, like expensive looking shiny metal UFO vibe thing, and then this like paper mache dinosaur coming across. Unfortunately, the only way we could have done that was like building a full T-Rex from scratch that looked like that would have done justice. It was unfortunately that was we got told by our managers that is too
No,
expensive. Forget that idea. Um, so yeah, I mean it was one. Unfortunately, yeah, the budgetary concerns do come in, and yeah, we talked about coming in from the top on ropes. We talked about having like those you can do those like stage floors where you kind of remove the flooring, and it looks like you kind of we had this idea of like beaming in Star Trek style,
well,
and
that's
then sort of jumping up, and then 4 of us suddenly, you've got like the springs, and you're suddenly, and we were like, man, the amount of extra staging that you have to bring in for like that like 1 second moment.
yeah, just
Again, I thought unfortunately it wasn't worth it. It was bare money spent on more lasers and more lights and more stuff like that. So, but like, yeah, I maybe one day when we're stratospheric, the biggest fan of the world, we can do all the stuff that we want to do.
Get real dinosaurs. Yeah,
Oh yeah.
the real
Let's
ones.
just bring them back.
Cloning
Yeah,
money. Yeah, we'll just be in your Uncle Scrooge Tower of Money, and you just go, yeah, just give me the real
let's
dinosaurs.
do that. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, I don't know if you saw in the news the other day. They've cloned a woolly mammoth meatball, which is like
Yeah.
apparently the technology is like very similar to the Jurassic Park technology.
It's
Bring back the dinos. They found a bit of woolly mammoth DNA and they've made a woolly mammoth meatball that is literally from the genetic material of it. Like that's crazy. They're doing it in real life now.
But why do we want to eat them and destroy them? It's like
Yeah.
things are delicious. It's like that. What's that episode of The Simpsons where it's like the rib McRibwich or whatever,
Yeah.
and it's like it's made from an animal that isn't. It's extinct. It's like yeah. We don't want to go there anymore. But mate, I gotta say, we're talking about dinosaurs. We're talking about, of course, mate, since the release of Amazing Things, you guys have really seemed to have just gone hell for leather and just not stopped. Bit here and there, but how's it been? Like, you got no signs of slowing down, and it's looking pretty heavy, man. How's it been out there?
Yeah, I mean, it's been, I think, off the back of like, 2.5 years of not touring over the pandemic, it's just been good. For us, just being on the road is the most natural thing. That's where we get the the fruit of our labors, of like the grind of like writing this album and working on it, and all the all the promo. We never done that much promo before, promoting an album like on a lead up, which was fun, but also in a way kind of unrewarding, because you've only got the internet reaction to sort of bounce back off, and that can only take you so far before you just want real people at shows singing along, moshing, and like that's the thing that gets us going. So all these touring opportunities and being busy and building the live shows back up again has been amazing. We've had like a few weeks off here and there. Luckily, there's been nothing too brutal. We made sure that like we weren't going to burn out, because we've done tours before. Sometimes you can't, you can't work it any other way, where you've done like an 8-week tour with like a few days off, and then you're straight onto another 4-weeker, and it's just it gets too much. But we've got a bit of time off after Australia, and then we go back to the States. We'll have like a few kind of months where we're just doing a few festivals in Europe, to sort of regather where we're at, and hopefully start work on some new music, and then we'll be back on tour the rest of the year. But then I think we'll probably take a bit of time and start recording and going through that next album thing, which feels like we're kind of just about getting ready to do that now. Like, it would have been too soon to even think about that. You need a bit of space, between albums, to actually enjoy the album you've just been working on and playing it. But at the same time, I love being on tour. We all love being on tour. It's also nice being at home now and then. Like, that's one of the best things about a job where you do go away. It's like you then really miss home. You then appreciate home when you're back, and then you're home for ages, and you're like, man, home sucks. And it's being on tour, so it's nice doing both. Yeah.
That's awesome, man. One thing I did want to ask you about is, of course, the video for Bruce Willis. The song Bruce Willis is one of the greatest gifts to mankind ever. It is amazing. Now, have you heard from Bruce and his people at all? Has he seen it?
We actually, I mean, incredibly, he was one of the first people to ever hear the song.
Wow.
Which was just nuts for us. Never thought in our wildest dreams he would get to hear it. Pretty soon after we finished recording it, we were chatting to some directors about who were maybe going to use some music in one of their movies, and they just dropped into convo. We were meeting them for the first time on Zoom. But what are you up to? Well, we're currently shooting a movie with Bruce Willis, and we were all like, what? We've written a song called Bruce Willis. So we sent it to them, and they played it to him on set. And he was like, "What the fuck is this? Like, I don't know what's going on right here." It's a bit of a weird song. I'm not gonna lie. It's probably like one of the weirdest structural songs as well that we've written. Like, it starts with this weird kind of piano-led, almost meatloaf-esque intro. Goes into the riff and what it does. But yeah, we were just stoked that he'd heard it and acknowledged it, and almost gave, wasn't pissed off. We'd made a song that nicked his iconic line in it. So to us, that was like giving us his blessing, and his daughter heard it and posted about it as well, which is really cool.
That's awesome.
So yeah, like just the fact that like his family know about it and the fact he's heard it, it's like, it's definitely one of those pinch yourself moments, just thinking, wow, like, someone that's inspired us in a way to, us with the song, and especially like, making one of our favorite videos we've ever made, just referencing all his some of our favorite Bruce Willis moments. It's really cool when you still kind of, you actually got that connection to the source material. So yeah, we're stoked.
Man, so good. It's so good. And I guess there's more on the way for you. I mean, is the direction musically, would you say it's going similar to how Amazing Things was?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say there's definitely similar, like, it's early days, because the way we kind of write is we throw so much at the wall, we just churn out the ideas, kind of see what works. And there's kind of a bit of everything so far. We were not in the process yet where we've refined it and kind of worked out the solid direction. But when it comes to like the ideas we've got, there's definitely some like heavy, shit in there. Like some riffs that are, getting me going anyway. That's the first point, of I guess like the creative, the period. Tom and Si will chuck over a load of ideas, and it's the music that kind of inspires, me and Matt to get singing over and coming up with the melodies. And a lot of the time it's just a banging riff that I'm like, fuck, I can just envision this instantly, and yeah, there's some sick stuff already. But then again, there's some real left field stuff too that gets me really excited, because I'm like, wow, we've never done anything like this before. So it's kind of, it's bringing that together and creating something that's still an evolution of Don Broco. I'm sure it'll end up being something new on the next album, but who knows what just yet.
Mate, so exciting. It's so exciting. But in the meantime, we're going to see you down here in like a couple of weeks, brother. It's like go like that, and you're going to be on that plane. You're going to come down and end up in Tasmania after a big night out. Yeah. maybe. There we go.
Find me in Tasmania if I'm not around for the show and everyone's wondering where I've gone and like Rob hasn't turned up yet. Send the search and rescue to Tasmania. I'll be there.
You're like, where are you? Where are you? What's the nearest thing? There's a sign that says Wagga Wagga. You're like,
yeah.
Good times. But mate, thanks again for hanging out on the show. We can't wait to see you in Brizzo, and we'll have links to the whole tour down here. Until then, take care, my man, and go riding those dinosaurs.
Yeah, that's how I'm getting to Australia, on the back of a pterodactyl. That's my plan.
Like in Dre.
Yeah, that should have been the tour poster. What was I thinking?
Just, I know. Next time.
Next time.
All right, bro.
Thanks, man.
Thanks, man.
Take care, dude.